My name, in the way your throat would shape it, is Sayu. I navigated for the convoy by reading the color of my own people's skin, which is the only kind of map my kind has ever needed. We are Lumith. We do not have eyes the way you do, and we do not have voices the way you do. We have light. We are born dim, we brighten as we learn, and when we die, if we die well, surrounded by kin, we go out slowly, the way a coal does, and everyone nearby can read the going. I tell you this so you understand what it meant when, on the 11th day adrift, half our convoy stopped answering in color at all. We had been 4 ships once, the Halston, the Orev, the 2 daughters, and my own, the Koryai, towing what was left of our herd stock and our seed banks, out of a mining lease. The Tessine Concord had sold out from under us, without telling us first. Our reactors were old, the lease had been old. We had been promised an escort as far as the relay at Verge's Edge, and the escort had never come, and by the time the Halston's core dropped to a flicker, we understood that it was never going to. We sent our plea the only way we knew, in light, pulsed long and slow across the dead bands, the old distress pattern every trading hull in that drift was supposed to recognize. We sent it to the Concord first, because the Concord owed us that much. We sent it to 3 merchant lines next, because merchants will sometimes answer for the salvage rights alone. We sent it, near the end, to anyone at all. For 9 days, anyone at all did not exist. I will not pretend we were brave about it. We dimmed our running lights to save the reactors, which meant we dimmed our voices, which meant the youngest among us, those still too unpracticed to hold a thought in color for long, went first into a silence none of them had words for, because words were never the part of us that spoke. By the 11th day, the Halston was a hull with no light in it at all, holding its dead and its living in the same unlit dark, and the Orev was close behind. I had stopped expecting anyone. I had started, instead, simply trying to be steady, so that when the Koryai's own light finally guttered, whoever was nearest to me would have something calm to read in my going. That is what I was doing, holding steady, nothing more. When the relay panel that should have been dead for 6 days woke up and told me a hull was inbound, broadcasting clean on an open band, no warning shot, no challenge code, no demand for our cargo manifest. It identified itself, in your language, as the Aldwin Reach, a medical frigate, human registry, alone. I want you to understand that alone was the wrong shape for rescue. Every story we had ever been told about your kind, and we had been told several, none of them kind, said that when humans came in numbers small enough to count on one hand, they came to take, not to give. So when the relay showed me 1 ship, unescorted, no convoy at its back, my first true thought in 9 days was not relief. It was that the worst of the old stories might be about to prove themselves true on the last of us. The Aldwin Reach did not ask permission to dock. It did not need to. The Halston could no longer have refused a child. It came in slow and lit, deliberately lit, every running light on its hull burning steady gold against the black, as if it wanted us to see it coming from as far away as our dead sensors would allow. I have thought about that since. I think now that it was the only language they had to offer us that did not need translating. A ship that lights itself up on approach is not hiding anything. What they did once aboard, I watched mostly through borrowed feeds, because by then, I had no strength left to leave the Koryai's bridge. There were 11 of them. They split into teams of 2 and 3, without anyone shouting an order that I heard, and they went hull to hull, and they did not ask what we wanted first. They restored air, then heat, then power, in that order, the order that keeps the most of you alive the longest, and only after that did anyone ask us anything at all. Their senior medic, a broad gray-haired woman named Okonkwo Reyes, knelt on the Orev's cargo deck in front of an unlit child too young to answer her, and simply put a warming wrap around it and waited, hands steady, face calm, for 15 minutes, until the first faint color came back into its skin. She did not know if it would. She waited as if she did. On the Halston, where I was certain only grief was left, they found 9 of us still alive in the dark, packed close for warmth around a core that had nothing left to give. The frigate's engineer, I never learned to say his name correctly, so I will not try here, ran a line straight from the Aldwin Reach's own reactor into the Halston's dead one, lighting our drowned ship from his living one. The 2 hulls joined like a hand passed from a parent to a child. He did this alone, in a suit, in the cold between our hulls, while his captain watched the feed and said almost nothing at all, except once, quietly, to ask if he needed another set of hands. He said no, he finished it himself. By the fourth day, all four of our hulls were lit again, dim, exhausted, but lit, every one of us breathing, every one of us, even the youngest, holding a thought long enough to color it. The frigate's captain, a narrow, unhurried man who introduced himself simply as Brant, came aboard the Coryai once, near the end, to tell me they had logged our position, our names, as best they could render them, and a formal complaint against the Concorde, that he admitted, plainly, would likely change nothing. He said it the way you might report the weather. No anger in it, no performance. Just a man telling another person the truth, because the truth was owed. I asked him, through the translator box his crew had rigged for exactly this. Why his ship alone? Why no escort? Why no orders that he was willing to name? He considered this for a long moment, the way your kind does, when a question matters more than it looks like it should. We were closer than anyone else, he said. That was the whole reason. I had no answer in your language worth giving him. So I gave him the only true thing I had. I lit the long, slow, descending pattern we save for the dying. The one that means, stay with me until I am only light, except I shaped it backward, ascending instead of falling. The pattern a parent gives a child who has just been born, and just taken its first color. There is no clean word for it in your tongue. The nearest I have ever managed is thank you for the dawn I did not think I would see. It is not a translation. It is the shape of the feeling, offered honestly, with no expectation that he could read it. He could not read it. I watched him not read it, and I watched him understand anyway, the way you sometimes understand a thing without being able to say it back. When the Aldwin Reach finally pulled away from our four small, breathing hulls, it did something I have turned over in my mind every day since. It dimmed its own running lights, slowly, deliberately, the same unhurried way it had lit them on approach, going dark not from damage, not from failure, but on purpose, in the cadence of our own descending pattern, the one we give the honored dead. I do not believe Captain Brant knew what he was answering. I believe his crew had simply watched us long enough to learn the shape of our grief, and decided, without being asked, to wear it for a moment on our behalf. We are four ships again, limping toward a relay that will probably still pretend it never heard us. The Concorde has not answered. I expect it never will. But I keep the Aldwin Reach's parting light in the place where I keep the things I will hand down, unexplained, to whoever is young enough to need them. Proof, if proof is ever required again, that somewhere in the dark there is a kind of help that arrives not because it owes you anything, but only because it was close enough to come.